Angela popped up like a little detective, saying 3 terrorist leaders, 2 British and 1 American. The Brits are fine, but what about the Americans? Can we really just blow them up? That sounds frustrating. This operation has the support of Kenya and the US, and discussing it now feels like pretending to know everything. Catherine already linked up with the drone pilot. She asked the two to prepare for the bombing, but the cabinet was still bickering. The defense minister hurried them to make a decision and stop the lady from rambling. Unexpectedly, the defense minister became cautious after listening to Angela and demanded to speak to the foreign minister for advice. This move left everyone confused, while Catherine anxiously waited for orders. Fearing to miss the chance and let the terrorists escape, the politicians were leisurely playing Tai Chi, but the foreign minister was no pushover. Regarding this attack, the foreign minister bluntly stated he couldn't decide unless the US State Department agreed. Anyway, the ball is round, anyone can kick it. At that moment, the US Secretary of State was busy playing ping pong in China, quickly took a call, and almost exploded when hearing the content, even though there was an American in it, but he was already on the president's blacklist. As long as the identity is confirmed, just go for it. Does it really need a phone call? After a roundabout way, the defense minister felt relieved. No more delays, he directed Benson to execute the mission. Catherine quickly received the message and informed the drone pilot to prepare for bombing. Little did she know, just before the launch, the pilot saw a little girl on the screen. This totally derailed the plan. Catherine hastily contacted the pilot to fire, but the pilot saw the little girl selling pancakes right next to the bombing target on the screen. This made the pilot decide to go against orders. She willingly gave up the bombing and asked Catherine for a new blast assessment, stating if the assessment shows the little girl could be harmed, then she wouldn't launch the missile because the control button wasn't in Catherine's hands. She was helpless, with the terrorists threatening hundreds of lives. But does the innocent little girl have to die? That question left her speechless. Meanwhile, terrorists in the room were busy packing explosives into bomb vests. Miss the timing, and all efforts would be in vain. To play it safe, Farah riskily walked toward the little girl with a bucket. Following the plan, Farah bought all the pancakes from the little girl, so she could pack up and head home. But just as Farah finished, a nearby armed man approached and recognized her with just a few words. Luckily, Farah was somewhat familiar with the surroundings, and was quick on her feet, quickly jumping into a compound and hiding under a junk car. Meanwhile, the little girl, having received the money, returned to sell pancakes without hesitation. She just wanted to earn some more, while Farah was just trying to keep her own life. She wanted to survive, and Farah wanted to survive too. She wanted to live, and Farah wanted to live. Over here, after receiving the money, the little girl didn't choose to go home but picked up the pancakes that Farah had dropped and continued selling in the same spot. With no way out, Catherine directly connected with the cabinet. The previous blast simulation showed the little girl faced a 65 or 75 ETH rate, while the terrorist one could kill 80 to 100. Now had to choose. Catherine needed the cabinet to give a conclusion. The Justice Minister replied, saying there are currently no legal regulations for the situation, sacrificing innocent lives to take out terrorists. Is it legal or not? There are no precedents to refer to, and then the foreign minister's video call reignited the debate. Everyone held their own opinions, and they couldn't agree on politics, law, ethics, or risks at all. I am truly deeply touched by this situation, as it has profoundly moved my heart. But to be fair, in politics, I think of Al-Shabaab more than the 80 people's dealers, because our strength can prevent innocent children from becoming sacrifices. Morally, the government won't take the blame. Instead, it would earn anti-terror support. Sacrificing the little girl would get the government condemned as lacking humanity. With those words, everyone fell silent, with the saintly and bureaucrats calculating their own interests. The foreign minister said, since no conclusion could be drawn, they'd call the prime minister to decide. This style of passing the buck is truly incredible. At this moment, the terrorists were armed to the teeth. The little girl outside hadn't finished selling her pancakes. If this dragged on any longer, the terrorists might just blow up themselves. Just then, the room's surveillance went out due to a power failure. Now they couldn't even predict the time. To break the deadlock, Catherine demanded another blast assessment. Previously, the little girl's mortality rate was 65% to 75%. Now, using any as long as it's below 50%, they could bomb. Meanwhile, the coordinator was still in talks with the Prime Minister. This bunch was just clowns. The saintly one called PM a coward, while ministers of justice and defense deemed it futile. Among these politicians, who really cares who will die? The higher they are, the more they can ignore lies, and the more power they have, the more they shirk responsibility. Soon, after re-evaluating, Catherine realized if they changed the bomb's position, they could barely get the girl's mortality rate down to 45%. That was the best solution they could come up with, either bomb or abandon. Now everyone was waiting for the defense minister's final word. He realized the ball had been passed back to him, and he had no choice but to decide, thus ordering to approve the bombing. On receiving the order, the pilot deployed, while Farah saw the danger had passed.